The Department of Justice is investigating the anti-ICE protesters who disrupted services at a church in Minnesota over the weekend.
But the state's attorney general claims the demonstrators and journalist Don Lemon, who was with them, did not break the federal law the DOJ is accusing them of. Doug Luzader joins us live from Washington with all the details. Hi, Doug.
Carly and Todd, good morning. This was an extraordinary escalation of the protests in Minnesota, the storming of a church. Now, here's how this played out. As former CNN host Don Lemon joined with protesters who believed one of the pastors at a church in St. Paul had connections to ICE.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yeah. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Minnesota's attorney general says protesters who stormed that church did not violate what's called the Federal FACE Act, but the Justice Department may not see it that way.
What you saw there was anti-Christian, anti-law enforcement rioters storming a church in this country, and that's a violation of law, and we are absolutely investigating. Our Civil Rights Unit has already sent experts out to Minneapolis today. The Civil Rights Unit, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, DHS is investigating this because what you saw the fear in the eyes of the members of that church.
Now, Lemon, meantime, defended his actions, saying this in a statement: "It's notable that I've been cast as the face of a protest I was covering as a journalist, especially since I wasn't the only reporter there. That framing is telling. I stand by my reporting." Lemon has said that racism is a part of the ongoing immigration enforcement efforts. He has also said that some of his critics have a sense of entitlement based on white supremacy. Todd and Carl.
Yeah, the double down did not end there. Doug, thank you. For more on the double down from Don Lemon, let's bring in Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council, a former pastor and police officer. You got quite a resume there, Tony. Lemon doubling down in an interview, Doug alluded to this, following that church raid, saying, "This is not the type of Christianity I practice," and accusing that particular church of white supremacy. Your response, Tony?
Well, it's very telling. What we're seeing here is a very clear violation of the FACE Act, a law going back to Bill Clinton in the 1990s that was designed to protect abortion clinics, but Orrin Hatch put a provision in there to protect churches. They violated it. But we have to understand there's something bigger here. This is the hostility toward religion in this country has been latent for some time. Now it has become blatant, this hatred toward God. And going back to something that House Speaker Mike Johnson said before the Parliament just about an hour ago, that what is taught in the classroom in one generation will become the ruling philosophy of the next generation in government. And that's what we see. This is what has been taught, this anti-Christian, anti-Western values to lead to a place where someone who claims to be a journalist charging into a church, interrupting a Sunday morning worship service. Like, this is something that we cannot tolerate in our country. Protest, yeah, fine. You can go on the street, stand out on the street. But when you're breaking into a church service, interrupting a worship service, we've crossed a new red line.
Yeah, you mentioned the speaker's speech just moments ago. He issued the phrase, "Freedom will destroy itself if it has no purpose." That is a reflection on a historical speech made by a historical figure. I'm just blanking on it. I believe that was Margaret Thatcher. But he also emphasized the importance of moral and religious foundational support. You need that support to prop up that freedom. And Tony, you also invoked the FACE Act. I want to let the audience know exactly what it says. Quote, "Makes it a crime for someone who by threat of force or by physical obstruction intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship." as you refer to the Orrin Hatch amendment to that law. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon responding to Don Lemon, posting the following: a house of worship is not a public forum for your protest. It is a space protected from exactly such acts by federal, criminal, and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. You are on notice. Do you think that everyone involved in this church invasion, Tony, needs to be prosecuted as a way to deter future incidents like this?
I do think that those who violated the law need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Now, you saw Pastor Parnell having this conversation with Don Lemon, very gracious in his conversation, but very clear. This is a worship service. We're worshiping the Lord Jesus Christ. You're welcome to come in and be a part of that worship service, but you're not free to disrupt it and to intimidate us in what we're doing. And so I think the law needs to be enforced. As a police officer back in the 90s, when they were using this against pro-lifers, I've long advocated that those who don't like the law, if you want to make it go away, apply it to the left. And I think this is the opportunity to do that, to ensure that religious freedom in this country is fully protected. And this is one way to do it.
Same church, different pew, no pun intended, to that last answer you just gave and your original answer. But why do you think the so-called tolerant left has become so intolerant of religion on the whole, specifically Christianity and Judaism, Tony?
Well, because there is a standard, a biblical truth. Christians, this church is a Southern Baptist church affiliated with the Southern Baptists. They still believe the Bible. They believe the Word of God. And worship, we often hear about the freedom of worship. It's not just the ability to go to a church on a Sunday morning. It's the ability to live your life according to your faith. That's the problem that many have with Orthodox Christianity or Judaism, is that people actually live by their faith. They believe that God defines what life is. He defines what human sexuality is. He defines what marriage is. And that is really the bottom line, I think, like people like Don Lemon have a problem with, is that there is transcendent truth by which people live their lives.
Religion is such an important foundation in whatever you do, no matter the religion. And I think that is a vital point that you just made, Tony, that Speaker Johnson made just a few moments ago there in England. Hopefully that message gets through to our country and to the UK as well. Tony Perkins, great insight this morning. Thank you, sir.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.